think we fixed it. So we were talking about this idea of using school instruments as motivation for kids to practice, so that if a kid wasn't using the school instrument, then you might ask them to return the school instrument for somebody who was going to use it in a more appropriate way. So how does that work?
Well, I guess what I was saying is that with the bass clarinet person, it wasn't that I was threatening them, but we're just explaining to them that you're getting an instrument at a very discounted rate. If there's someone else who's willing to use it and play and work to play at the right ability level and or even just show progress, that it seems detrimental that the one person who wants to do it can't use the instrument because you're using it, yet you're really not using it at all. Yeah. So the utilization of the instrument, we wouldn't throw them out of the band program or anything. They would have to get their own instrument, obviously, which is a financial burden because it is very expensive. I don't know where you would ever rent it, but you probably have to buy a bass clarinet. But the parents understand that, and they realize you're getting this great luxury of a discounted instrument. Your part of being in band is you have to come prepared. So it usually helps the parents who might not be as well versed in music and know that you have to encourage your child to practice. That's their homework. And we do tell the student or the parents at open house that there's homework in this class every single night. And it's to practice, whether it be band music or method books for your lesson material or scales. There's always something to practice. Mm-hmm. So they should hear the instrument being played every night.
That's good advice, too. I guess the final one would be, there were a lot of different things that people said, but they all kind of could be distilled down into the idea of, like, students are different now than they were when you started your career. Mm-hmm. We have a very wide range of experienced teachers from 30 plus years to people that have just finished college. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything that you guys talk about that you deal with, like the new student or like the student of today versus
referring to the high school student or someone coming into the profession?
I guess it could be anyone. I mean, not for a teacher.
Okay.
Like as far as your own students, like we talked about today, yesterday, maybe the idea that like it's harder to find students that are practicing.
Well, it's very funny when you said it. That's the first thing that came to mind is we see on our side, as far as our students that are coming to us, that the home practice that we were just talking about is not happening like it used to. Whether it be when you were in school, when I was in school, even when I started my career. So what are we going to do to combat that? What we've done as an immediate reaction, we have rooms set up very similar to how you have your high school set up, but instead of offices, they're open practice rooms. We actually have 3, the same number that you have, I think, right here. And so what we've done is the kids are allowed to sign out the practice rooms just like you would in college. We have a sign-out sheet, first come, first serve. They have to get a pass from us. And it has to be a study hall, a free period, or a lunch. Or sometimes if the teacher allows them, they're saying, we're not doing anything today, you're welcome to just have a study hall. The kids will come down and ask for a pass. They can come down and practice during school. That's during school time. Now we will also say that they can come in before school and after school. The number of kids that actually ask us, because they have to ask, is anyone going to be here after school? Because they want to know how late they can stay in a practice room. They're not allowed to hang out in a practice room just to hang out. They can't eat lunch in a practice room or anything. They have to actually be practicing. The number of kids that come in after school surprises me. But what they're doing is they either don't want to carry their instrument home, or they have another thing after school, maybe 30 minutes after school ends. Right. So they're being very smart, like we talked to the students today about utilizing your time. Yeah. These students went into the practice room, did 20-30 minutes, put their instrument away, and then went to soccer practice.
So rather than sitting in the cafeteria waiting for practice.
Exactly, which is a really smart use of time. Right. The same happens, all our jazz rehearsals are before school. They start at 7 a.m. Okay. So the music suite is open about 6:30, 6:45 every morning. We unlock it, and I will tell you that there have been in the past 2 to 3 kids that will walk in with the jazz kids, and they're not there for jazz, they're there to utilize a practice room. Usually because they get a ride from mom or dad, and they're sitting in school anyway, but instead of, like you said, sitting at their locker, because no one else is in school usually at 7 a.m. or 6:45, so they go in and they make use of that time, and they start practicing. We encourage that, because what better way to get your practicing in but before school starts or right after school ends, because there's always that lag time. And we're finding more and more kids are taking advantage of it. Now, is it as many as we would hope? No, but I think right now it's a great possibility that we have. And I tell the students that if for some reason those 3 little rooms are booked and you want a place to practice, I'll always find a room for you. I would even give up my office and I have before, to let a kid practice, because it's more important that they practice than have an office just sit unused as I'm teaching somewhere else.
That's great. What about in terms of behavior? Like when I was in high school, I never did anything wrong, and it was great. And so, like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but now, more kids. Right? Remember?
I'm sorry. Yes, you were the ideal student,
right?
Mr.
So,
Stabell.
and then, but now, we see a lot of kids where it seems like there's less respect going on, less lack of. They don't fear consequence the same way that people used to. Like, I might have done some wrong things, but I was also really scared of getting in trouble for those things. Are you guys seeing that kind of thing, and what kind of things are you doing to, or advice even, to kind of get that stuff under control?
Wow, that's a tall order, but I do agree with you. I think we can all agree that students have less respect for authority, and that means all authority, whether it be law enforcement, whether it be administration or teachers, even less respect for each other. I think we talked about this also with the kids, that we should lead by example. I know, and I don't know if it's just a luck of the draw thing, but the three main directors in our high school, the orchestra director, myself, my colleague, Mike Vertosky, who's the other band director, were very old school, as well as far as, we address each other as Mr. Conte, Mr. Buckle, Mr. Vertosky. There's no first names used. There's no shortening of last names used when we hear them interact with each other. If it's something that really does, they're high school students. If you were to stop every single thing, it would be, you'd spend all day stopping kids, right? And you can't do that. But when it crosses a line, they need to know that. And none of us have any problem in stopping and saying, "Excuse me, what did you say to him or her? That's not acceptable. I think you owe them an apology." That's not how we talk around here. That's not how you treat someone around here. So as far as character development, we're trying to, stop that there. We have a brand new choral director to our district, specifically to our school, and he's understanding kind of how we treat students, as far as that expectation, that level is very high, and he seems to be watching us and learning from us. So again, that goes back to, we're demonstrating, we're constantly leading by example, and without saying much, he has watched what we're doing, and I can see him doing the exact same thing, because we all do agree that there should be a certain level of that. I think that on a bigger scope, this is something that in the education world that we all have to be worried about, because as it's turning out, we as educators and administrators are being asked to do more parenting than ever before. And I don't want to throw everybody in the exact same boat, but less and less parenting is being done at home. Parents at this point that I'm seeing think that they need to be their kid's friend in order to get through their kids, which is the biggest mistake I've ever heard. Kids don't need another friend. They need a parent. I have 2 children, and I love my children to death, but I'm also very hard on them, because I know they have a great group of friends, and that's fantastic, but they need myself and my wife to parent, not to be their friend. And unfortunately, it seems that that's what we have to do in school as well. And that's always a very fine line to walk between being encouraging, nurturing, but in the same respect, being heavy-handed at times, and making sure that they are doing the right thing at the right time.
Cool. Yeah, along those same lines, one of the things that we talk about sometimes when we're talking about retention and trying to keep kids on board is, people striking the balance between making it fun or making it something that's enjoyable versus like knowing what needs to be taught, and that there's people on varying ends of each spectrum. Do we want to play just songs that they know, or things that are fun, and or do we want to buckle down on page 1 of Essential Elements no matter what,
right.
and make sure that everybody knows how to read everything. And there's all different, we talk about it often, and there's all different philosophies that we have in our district. So I'm just curious where you would fall in your thoughts about keeping it fun or making it enjoyable, or what even is enjoyable, to a kid.
I think what I have always believed, and through all 4 schools that I've taught in, is that kids want to be part of something great. They don't want to be part of something that is lackluster. I think that it is a delicate balance between things should be enjoyable, but there's ways to go past that line, which then are detrimental to the program, and things that do need to be done. I've never met a student, I should say I've never met a student, most students, when they see the result of working hard, never seem to complain. They understand that this hard work leads to this wonderful result. With that being said, you had talked about being fun. Well, what's our curriculum but our music, right?
Right.
So who chooses the music but us? I've said, and I will always say that I think it's the hardest part of our job, because we need to pick good curriculum, good music that caters to the students that we are teaching as far as instrumentation. With that being said, I again, my colleague, I keep referring to him, he's also a professional composer who is right now on multiple state lists as far as compositions. With that being said, he and I both agree there's approximately 20,000 pieces of music written every year. Of that, we're lucky if 10% are of high quality. So how do you decide what's high quality and what's not? Well, there's many articles you could read from professors as well as in Music Educators Journal, etc., that talk about picking proper program. Or you can use references like, I'm looking over your shoulder, Teaching Music Through Performance is a fantastic reference. The cool part about that, it's for band, orchestra, chorus, and jazz.
Right.
You don't need to own the text to at least see the copies of the information. If you just go to Teaching Music Through Performance online, you can just hit the list for your level, and it shows you the computerized list. These are professionals that this music is already been judged and is of high quality. You can go and just list, and okay, I want to look at that one and listen to it.
Right.
I think that's a fantastic resource, and I'm glad to see that it's on your shelf there. But some people say, oh, but I think that I should do this popular music piece. That's fine. Too much of it is not fine. Just like too much of marches is too much as well. That's how bands started, but we can't do marches all the time. I always try to think that by June, by the time they go to summer, I'd like them to hit a little bit of different style all the way through the year. So they've at least done a march. Maybe they've done, right now, we're actually working on an orchestra transcription, because I haven't done a transcription. And I actually tell the band, this is a transcription. This is what a transcription is. This is who's representing this in the orchestra. This is something that we need to do. We do, in the spring, I usually choose a pop type piece. We've done anything from Caravan, arranged for band Tico Tico, things like that. So music that I feel and deem is of high quality. In fact, it's very funny. Before I came here, I ordered for our concert band, I ordered a version of St. Louis Blues,
Right.
which is fantastic arrangement. I'm really excited to play it, and that will be my pop piece that we'll be playing in the spring concert.
Cool. Great. Well, that's really awesome. I think a lot of the stuff that our staff was able to sort of talk about in their comments, I think we covered a lot of it. So it's great to have your insight. Hopefully this is a short thing that you can watch during your lunch period or something. And hopefully it helped, guys. I don't know, just trying to find ways to get any information that we can into our district. So if you want to talk to Mike more, I'm sure I can hook you guys up with his email address, and maybe that would
I'd be happy to. You can contact
cool
me anytime.
Maybe we could bring him back or something, or someone like him. All right, thanks. Hope everyone's well. Talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.